And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I am here with Sadeq. Um, Sadeq was socially typed. I wanted to bring him on to talk about himself and talk about his type, ask him a few questions. So, Sadeq, why don't you introduce yourself? Why don't you introduce your regular type? I mean, it's there, but and then tell us about your background.
Hello. I'm Sadeq, and I actually got typed such a long time ago. Probably like one of the oldest people in the
Really?
entire. Yeah, I got tapped in like December 2018. So it's been just a fucking long time. I think there's a couple people who are older, like Austin maybe got tapped before me, and
Wow.
some other people. But yeah, I've been here for such a long time. But yeah, I originally got into all this bullshit back in 2017. So I was
Mhm.
like in high school, and I had always had this big question of like, what do I want to do with my life? It's like the standard, hey, what's the future plan bullshit that my type wants to get stuck in. And so I was like, career test. This like literally, and like was like
Mhm.
July 2017, and I was just like looking this stuff up, and I just like gone to MBTI and all these like stupid typology systems, and I was always very frustrated with it because I never like every single person has a different view, right? And that's a big issue.
Mhm.
And everyone says something different completely. So they're like, who the fuck should I listen to? That kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then I found Dave in April 2018. Like that's when I found his channel. I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And obviously we're similar types, so that's just what your brain like gravitates to.
Mhm.
And so yeah, then I got tapped in December, and I was like, what the fuck? Am I really this type? And I was kind of like pissed off for a whole week, but then I kind of processed it. It was easy
Mhm.
to see, and here we are today, basically.
So, were you following him from his old channel? So, were you watching his old stuff before he was
No,
more?
no, no. That was when he rebranded. So I think he rebranded in January 2018. That's and like when I found his channel, all his videos were pretty new, and
Mhm.
yeah, and
So,
that's how I
so
found
you
his.
found it fresh. You weren't looking at his old
Yes.
stuff, and
No,
then
no, I never even knew who the fuck that guy was. No,
oh, so
never
you
knew.
just
No.
plugged straight in, just went and
Yeah.
got your type.
Yes. Yes.
Mm, mm.
Mhm.
And what type did you think you were?
Oh yeah, I knew I was a mope 100%,
Mm,
and I knew that I was an observer 100%, but I didn't know anything else. It was
mm,
like very, like, am I TI? I mean, I feel like I was leaning more toward TI than FI, you know. And then I
mhm,
was leaning more to like I was leaning more toward NISE versus NE. So I thought it was like some sort of like beta quad or thing, but
mm.
I wasn't that far off, you know.
Okay.
I just
That is,
couldn't narrow it down completely to the my type. Yeah.
mm. So, why don't you tell us about where you're from, your background, and your
Yeah.
kind of career path you're going on.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm originally from Iraq. I was born in like uh, before the Iraq War, obviously. So I was like a little baby when it happened. So yeah, and then I came to America when I was like 12, and then yeah. So the thing is, in third world countries, it's like, especially in Iraq, it's like, hey, you either do well in school and get 100 GPA, so you could become a doctor or engineer or
Oh,
that kind of thing, or you just fucking go live in the streets or just become a loser, right? So like all my cousins and my aunts and like uncle, there's like, I have so many doctors in my family. Like they're all like either doctors or studying to be doctors or like heart surgeons, like just a lot of that kind of stuff. And so it's like that was like the expectation from me, for my parents had for me is like, hey, like you just have to do this. And I was actually really good at school. I was like,
mhm.
um, I took school very seriously when it's there. But once you come here, you just things get dialed down, and
You
it's
mean
like, I don't
America?
actually, yeah, you don't have to work as hard,
Yeah,
basically. And
I've heard that from my other immigrant friends as well.
yeah, you just don't have to work as hard, and that's a good thing and a bad thing because it's a good thing because you could actually do other shit in your life. You could like make friends, or you could like do sports or all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But bad thing is you might get complacent. That's what happened with me. I was like, I just stopped caring about school because like I don't care about this. I just don't care, and it just kept getting worse as the years progressed. It's like literally the last year of high school, I barely got to go. It's like I had a very good GPA, right, like a 93 GPA, but all of that was because of the first 3 years. The last year was like I barely got to pass my classes basically because I just stopped giving a fuck.
Senioritis.
Yeah, I just stopped giving a fuck at all basically. But yeah, obviously I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do with my life, and that's how we even got into this stuff. But then when I started college, I was like, you know what? I really like to do psychology or something like that, because I'm actually like, if reading about this stuff, it's actually very. It doesn't feel like you're actually working or doing anything. It's like it's just like fun, completely fun. But then after like half a semester, I realized that everyone does psychology. So many people do this degree, and it's like it's so competitive. So like you're not there's not a good end path for it, and
Application. Yeah. Place to
yeah,
apply.
no, yeah, just like it's more, it's kind of like it's not a dead end, but it's you don't have that many options with it.
Yeah.
So I just switched to cybersecurity, which I don't like as much. Obviously, I don't like it as much, but it's the most. Hey, it's a secure thing. It's like 100% gonna be in the future because of all the technology we have all around us right now. It's like kids gonna go like more and more like technology and stuff. So that's what I basically studied in college, and after college, yeah. So it's been like I've been working for like a year and a half, and I'm doing IT auditing, which is like the most ICJ jobs possible. So it's like the stupidest analogy that I always use for this job is it's kind of obviously you're doing this with IT, but like to use a sensory example, it's kind of like asking someone, "Hey, is your door locked?" And then they're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay, can you show us the policy that says that the door is locked?" And then you obviously they explained all that to you, and then you're like, "Can you take a picture to show us that the door is locked, actually?" And like basically you do that, but with IT like stuff, like access control, all that bullshit. Like, but yeah, that's just the easiest way to explain it. Basically, that's what I'm doing, and I'm gonna fucking leave this shit. Like, I already made a decision last year. I was like, I'm gonna change jobs in 2024, and that's the plan right now. I'm just gonna change jobs in 2024, and I'm just like trying to plan for the exit in 2024, like to make myself as marketable and as possible in this next like by the end of this year, basically. Yeah.
So are you switching to another place and doing the same subject of work? Or are you trying to
No, I'm
jump
not. No. So
or
I'm
trying to
not
jump
doing
to a
IT.
new career?
No. So this is funny, but my friend was working in cybersecurity too, and he just got a new job in cybersecurity in January. And he was actually making really good money, like higher, like 70K. And he basically got fired after a month because he was a contractor. So they were like, "Okay, yeah, you're not that experienced, so we're gonna fire you." And that thing really pissed me off, and I was like, made me realize that I don't want to work for anybody basically, because you're just like you're technically all of this is technically wage slavery. It's not that bad, obviously. It's not like you're like a serf or in feudalism or that kind of stuff. But if you really like narrow it down, you're just working for the CEO so he could buy a yacht for himself, like. And that thing is really like made me really not want to wanted me to be more serious about not actually working for somebody in the future. Like that's the ultimate. But I don't want to work for somebody. So yeah.
So
So when it comes to my career, yeah. So next thing is I'm probably gonna leave IT auditing and go to like some other branch in cybersecurity just to see how it is. And then like the plan is I could either keep doing this to just see the big picture of the field, and so that I could do my own thing instead of just being in this like small role that I'm doing, like this niche that's isn't is kind of like dead end. Or the other option is how you could go to grad school, and the third option is you could actually do a completely different career, basically. Yeah. So the way I actually explain my life is I make a safe plan, and then I have like contingency plans A, B, C, whatever, and then it's like if one thing goes wrong, I could do the other thing. Yes.
very IJ-esque. Yes.
Yes, it is.
But is there anything that you're doing on the side that you draw meaning from, or like is there
Yeah, I mean, there's not really one thing that I do on the side. It's just like I just do a bunch of stuff, but it's like none of this should actually you could make money from. Like you know. And that's the thing I'm trying to figure out, is like, how could you, what's a good niche for me in the future to escape like wage slavery, basically. That's basically the big question. And it's good because what is it like, it's like this is kind of like the number three thing, but like the
Mm-hmm.
thing you're trying to do is you're like very risk adverse, and that's why like
Mm-hmm.
you get stuck in things, because you want to be everything to be safe, you want everything to have a clear path and all that kind of stuff. And when that's not when that's not available, you basically get stuck, and you just have to find that thing instead of taking risks. And so the big thing I'm like trying to learn is, how do I take calculated risks and be okay with that? And already started doing that, but I want to do that more in the future, like more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of an important thing if you want to like unlock parts of your life. Like for instance,
Yeah.
me as a what I am, I'm just like, holy shit, I need to learn from others. I need to listen to other stories, and that's how I'll get a bunch of unlocks by opening up. So it's the same for you. Like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes. I was gonna. You remind me of this. Okay. So everything I need to fucking learn how to do is how to fucking work with other people, because I'm fucking terrible at that. Like I'm so
yeah,
terrible at working with other people. It's something I
yeah,
need to fucking learn how to do. That's
we're
like one of the
mopes.
goals I need to figure out. Yeah.
We're mopes. It's hard, and we're demon friends, so it's harder. Well,
Yep.
um, so now that we've talked about that, would you like to talk about your social type and how you kind of worked it out with Dave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave,
So
so.
I was already thinking about same shit they was talking about, but like it's not exact. So what's a good example? So let's say you're working on a skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
With every skill, there's an exponential growth, right? And you can't get to the exponential growth unless you actually focus on the skill for a specific period of
Mm-hmm.
time and focus a lot on it, so that you could actually get to the exponential growth part. If
Mm-hmm.
you would keep like switching between 20 different things, you'll never actually get to the exponential growth part, because you're just like in the beginning stages of all of them. And that's the thing I was basically processing before I found out about social type. I think that's like the number three thing, where it's like you're trying to figure out, how do I get exponential growth in specific skills. And
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm not fucking doing, I'm not even fucking focusing on the difference, like a skill per se or anything, but my brain wants to do that, and that's like the thing that was happening. So I was like, is this just my OP type? You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just plus, and I'm like, I can't. I have an IJ box, but I'm like consuming a lot, and I just so I don't focus on one thing really. And basically, I asked Dave about it, and he was like, "Yeah, it makes sense. Like you're a three. The thing with the three is you're." He said threes are the most likely to get stuck, basically. And the
Mm-hmm.
funny thing is, I'm an IJ, which makes me stuck, and then plus, which also makes me stuck, and then a three, which also makes me stuck. So I'm like, the the most
Triple
stuck.
whammy.
Yes. So yeah, basically that was it. And he basically, I already knew I was demon friends. Like that was so easy to see. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's like all of the, I swear, like all the friendships I have, of like most of them, like almost all of them, they were kind of accidental. Like I was never actually the one who was like, oh, you know what, let's be friends. It wasn't never like that. Just like how we just happened to be there, and like, hey, or like we did something together and we just became friends. And that was very easy to see, because I'm not like a type of person who would go out of their way to be friends with people. And that's actually something I need to work on, just to be more friendly and like be willing to be friends with people, even though expand my box basically. And so that was easy to see the ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was just confused about specialized responsibility, and that's, I'm still kind of confused about that. It's like so hard for me to understand, but like I kind of, as days go by, I understand it more and more. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I wanted to touch on the friends thing. I'm like I know I really know what you mean, because it feels like unless there's a point to talk to this person,
uh,
I have
yes,
very little
yes,
desire to talk to people. So like
it's
it, for me, Gray kind of pointed it out to me as like, oh, you make it a formal thing. I'm trying to get this thing out of it. I'm like, or that's what I keep doing. But then I'm learning, oh shit, this person's a friends person. I need to learn. I need to literally learn how to be friends from them. Um, I just
yes.
hope to God that they don't torture me too much in the meantime. Like,
Yes, yes. It's like with DI, we are assholes, but then with the demon friends thing, you're even more of an asshole, and it's I don't know, like there's assholes all around, like in Discord servers and
mhm.
what is it like even in the wild and stuff. But I don't know, it feels like you clash a lot with with people, and I don't know if the other people you clash with are like also demon friends or they're friends, but like it seems like you clash more with people who are save your ego. It's like that's what seems to happen because the demon friends people, I mean, the save your friends people wouldn't necessarily like they you just wouldn't clash with them. That's just what I think. I don't know.
I, I've I've noticed some people have noted that some flexors bond with other flexors.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. That's
That
true.
happens as
Yes,
well. So you can either bounce off or you can bond.
yes, but like
But
with save your friends, it feels like you're always okay with like you're always kind of like not at odds, but then
yeah,
yeah,
well, that's what I've been noticing with people who are savior friends is they just have an abundance because
yeah, yeah.
they're just like, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? Whereas I'm like,
Mm.
hey, do you think you're better than me? You know, like
Yes,
something like that. Like, or leave me alone. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm better than you.
yes.
Like, it's like that. It's like I'll be hearing other people's conversations. I'm like, why are you talking to that person about that thing? Why are you talking to Karen about Street Fighter 5? Don't talk to Karen in the office about Street Fighter 5. Like, what is wrong with it? It's like it's just it's so judgy.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like you play these mental games where like I just that's what I do, just fucking stupid. But like I'm chilling in a supermarket and I'm just like looking at everyone. I'm like, actually, I'm taller by this person by a bit, so I'm better than him. And then like, oh, this person is
Ah.
this, so I'm better than you. And it's all in your head. It's always this is like constant thing, and always doing like, oh, this
Oh.
guy, like I'm like you find the one thing you're better at than the other person, and you just
Mhm.
like delude yourself into. It's kind of like a self confidence boost thing. We just keep doing, and
Yeah.
I do that a lot, and it's like DI plus ego, so it just you know builds on it.
Spirals upward.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like these people don't know how smart I am. They
Yes.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, and then you're like, wait, am I a crazy person? Like Habib was calling me a crazy homeless man. Like you're like a crazy homeless man with your crazy theories. I'm like, shit, but you were right about stuff. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you said well, I heard some of your audio with Dave. Was it process of elimination that kind of got you? It was contrast with him, what he's doing.
No, no, it's a process of elimination. He's like, oh, you're not really trying to be friends with everyone like before, and
Mhm.
you see, you just said you want to do something, and but you're like you're not that crazy about it like a one is like you're not really
Yeah.
that like. And we're gonna. I feel like I'll get with the questions you're gonna ask, or so, we're gonna dive more into that. But
Mhm.
then, and I'm like, no, I'm not really a two, or like it's just like you're just a three. It's like it's just a process of elimination. It's kind of like
Mhm.
the Woody Harrelson thing. He just
Mhm.
like the video he posted. It's kind of like the same thing he said. He's like, oh, this guy is. Um, so I think with demon responsibility, it seems like you look at what's bigger than you, and you're like, I can't do anything about this, and that's
Mhm.
like the natural inclination for your
Mhm.
worldview. Like I'll give you a good example. So
Mhm.
back when I was like between ages 13 and like let's say 18, it's well it started getting better after 18, but like I
Mhm.
was just a fucking lunatic like Dave, you know, like crazy Dave, his crazy phase. I was
Mhm.
basically the same exact shit, right? Like the same
Mhm.
craziness, but that's how we like bonded. Was what like when I got typed like when, in audios emails, we bonded over the fact like he kind of understands where I'm coming from and that kind of stuff. But because I'm blast last and a three and stuff, for me it's like, oh shit, like this is happening. I'm depressed and I can't do anything about it. With Dave, he literally would do like drills or like, oh, he meets friends and like, hey, let's buy machetes.
Let's
let's
buy
let's
machetes. Let's prepare for the
yes,
apocalypse.
yeah, yeah. Let's just let's do something, right? But for
Mhm.
me, I'm like, no, we're not doing anything. And
Mhm.
obviously, you could say that's the blast last versus like consume less thing. But I feel like also the responsibility thing, where like um, that's where like entrepreneurs like they don't like the system or whatever, but then they're like, all right, let me do something about it. For me, I'm
It,
just like sitting down and just looking at what's going on, and I'm not really doing something. I'm just
so
stuck. Yeah.
it sounds like, well, it's not like responsibility is a magic coin that makes you run around and do anything. Because like I keep mentioning, Dave and Shan said that they were depressed for well, I don't know how long and didn't leave the house and all the cars changed. Um, but the responsibility, like the responsibility is like, oh, I'm the guy. I'm the guy who's going to fix this. Where so it's an active approach, let's say, versus maybe a more passive approach.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think
So
that's
like
pretty accurate.
Avery's taking the more passive approach of I will plug in here. Billy's taking the more passive approach of I'm part of a wave, not I am the oh, punch. Kinesthetic punch. Like I'm not the guy. I'm not going to be the. I feel like the responsibility is like we're making an arch of stone, and like if you're a responsibility, you want to be like in the capstone, holding it together. Whereas if you're not responsible, you don't want to be the person who feels like they're holding it to all together. That makes sense.
Yes, yes, I know what you're saying.
So
Okay, this is, yeah, it's kind of funny, but like a stupid analogy is like you don't want necessarily want to be the president. Like I would rather be the guy who's behind the scenes. Like that.
mhm,
It's funny because I would always say this like years back. It's like whenever, even if something that has ultimate influence, I don't want to be the one in the spotlight. I just want to be behind the scenes, and like do
mhm,
my like. It's kind of like what's the thing? It's like oh, you don't even know me, like you kind of do, but you don't even know me, and that makes it even more satisfying because like
mhm,
people don't even fucking know like how much you have or like how much you can do or that kind of thing.
hmm.
It's kind of like
Um,
it's kind okay. I'll give you an example. It's kind of like we know who the presidents are, or like oh, like let's say we know Trump or Biden, but do you really think they're like the most powerful people?
no.
I mean, no, there's people who you don't fucking know, but they're just behind the scenes and they're just like call the shows, but then they're just laughing at everything. And that's like the way I would want to be. I don't want to be in the
Mhm.
spotlight. I just want to be behind the scenes laughing at all this stuff, just and I have influence, but nobody actually knows who I am. It's just like a very mythic kind of thing. I don't know how to explain it, but you
Yeah, it
probably get it.
feels like
Yeah.
the ones want the ones want to be the superstar spotlight.
Yes.
Yeah, and I am the arrow. I point. You go where I point. All follow me, and that's where they get the drive from. So, but like, have you noticed? Have you noticed? Avery was actually very specifically talking about this, where she was talking about the idea of expanding, and then she was like, "But no, that would interfere with my job, and I wouldn't want to flex outside of my job because my job is so important to me." Now, maybe you don't feel like you're specific, but like, is there somewhere where that would be true, or do you not relate?
I'm only gonna brag about the things I'm into most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like hey, if I run like when it comes to fitness stuff, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
brag there because like that's a and I'm not gonna brag there just to like put you down. It's like hey, I could do this, so what can't you do this kind of thing, or like it just to motivate people in a certain way. But then it doesn't seem like I brag outside of what I do, like with the things I'm into, unless like, oh, I told you the supermarket shit, where like, but it's all fucking mental. I'm not like actually saying that to
Mm-hmm.
people, but like, there's always this thing that you want to brag, or like you're one upping people,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time it's within this things you're like looking at, not like everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could be looking at 20 things, but you're not gonna brag about things outside that 20 things. Whereas maybe like a number one would be like they just brag about everything. I don't know, but that's how I see
Maybe.
it for myself. Yeah, I don't
Maybe.
know.
But it seems like along with Billy, though, I'd like to get a three on here who's way more extrovert than the ones I've had. There was this there. I'm just saying, there's this need
Yeah, yeah.
for anonymity. There's this there's this kind of there's a partial desire for anonymity. And for instance, I'm talking to Gray. She was saying, I get frustrated if I do anything and my name isn't on it. Like up front, I was doing the work and my name wasn't being tied to it directly right up front. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I think a good analogy is like, again, I'll keep saying the same point about the guy, but like it's kind of like, oh, you just live in the mountains and people know you, and like you don't really engage with the world
Mhm.
or anything, but like you still like you still are significant, but you're not like there's some mystery, like you're not necessarily everywhere, you have your name everywhere, something like that basically.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of like the thing Billy said, where he's like, oh, I want to make the best music ever, but I don't want people to know me, and for
Don't
me
want to
it's
be a
not to that
meme.
degree. I want people to know me, but like I still want like the they don't really know everything about me.
Mm.
They just know like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. 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 I think we're ready to head into the questions then. I think we've kind of
Mhm.
been talking about this for a little bit. So, first question: if you could be, what would you want to be famous for? And you kind of already laid this out that you're like, hey, I'm not seeking fame. I'm seeking to be
I'm
known, but like not too
yeah,
much.
I'm not necessarily like, there's not one thing I want to be famous for, not really.
But
Like,
is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean, I guess I could be famous for being okay. It seems like I want to be
Mm.
so here's it seems like I want to be famous for being me, but then me includes different things that I want to do. And so if you like, so like, hey, I mean, I'm this guy or whatever, and then but oh yeah, I happen to do ultra marathons or something like that, and then oh, I happen to d- paint really well, or I happen to do like this, you know. But it's not necessarily about this. The thing is specific. That like all these specific. I don't know how to explain it, but like, because like what I care about is like it's a big. Um, it's not like one singular thing that I want to be famous for. No, like I guess we could just say that. So like I want to only make music or only want to be good at like this thing. It's more the biggest thing is like how could I be famous for or good at all, like make some contribution, like 20 things. But then the other issue is like, but how can I do that? That's not possible.
Mm.
That's not fucking possible. And that's
Mm.
like the stuck energy that's coming from, which is like which has to do with the exponential growth shit that I was talking about also. And this is like all works together, you know.
Mhm. So there is it. Let's even just reframing the question. Is there anything you just like to be known for? You can answer no.
No, I just want to be me. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah, I just
good.
want to be
I
me.
think that's an interesting answer.
That's yeah, that's it. That's the answer. It's
Hmm.
like whatever I'm gonna do, like it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna be like me. Like
Hmm.
that's I think that's the answer. Yeah, that's a good. That's my best answer here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's a good answer. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. What would constitute the perfect day for you?
There's no such thing as a perfect day, because like the only way like say it's a perfect day if it's like 48 hours, but it's all the day is only 24 hours, and
Okay. So the Earth starts rotating slower. Perfect day
okay,
starts. It's twice as long a day. Okay. We're in NF land. We're in intuitive land. The Earth starts rotating slower.
yeah,
Everyone flies into space immediately just because the Earth slowed down so quickly. Everyone's bones got ripped. I'm just kidding. So magically, the Earth goes slower, and it's a 2 day long day. Okay. Now what?
yeah. So do we still sleep 8 hours?
Sure.
Okay, let's say we still sleep 8 hours.
Literally, you could
So
say I can get 8 hours of sleep and stay up the whole day and not be tired. That could be your perfect day.
okay, yeah. So it's funny, but for me, the perfect bedtime is like 2 a.m. And
Okay.
yes, I would wake up at 10 a.m. because I don't know. There's something about being up at night and people everyone is sleeping and you're just like I don't know. It's like you could walk in the street, nobody's there, you're just like overlooking everything, and everyone is sleeping, but you're thinking, I don't know how to explain it. It's just
No,
like a vibe.
I've been a night owl, man.
Yes.
I've been a night owl.
Yes.
I've been up and done my best thinking, loopy in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, yeah. I say I'm a like a naturally a night owl, and so I wake up in the morning, and basically the things that I care, like if I would like if let's say we don't have to fucking work or anything, like let's just say that.
Okay.
Basically, it's just gonna be like main things I'm gonna focus on is fitness, and uh, which let's say you have 2 days. I mean that's gonna be like 3 hours. Let's say 3 hours of
What's gonna
fitness,
be
and
3 hours?
then fitness like
Okay.
running,
Yeah, yeah,
weightlifting. You could
yeah.
actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do 4 hours. Let's play tennis too. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
And then pretty much the rest of the time, let's say 2 hours social time,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of the rest of the time is just gonna be me doing my own shit. That's it. That's all I want basically. That's my perfect day.
What's your own shit?
No, I just saw like it's just like the endless consume rabbit hole, and then like planning and consuming and like just planning. That's actually my entire life. Literally, it's just,
Okay.
hey, I'm making a plan and I'm consuming shit and I'm keep refining the plan, but I never fucking execute it. So if you have like that much time, if you have 2 days, you're probably gonna execute more shit than you do in one day because
Okay.
of like. And let's say okay, but when we say 2 days, that's only applies to me. Does not apply to everyone else. So I'm getting a 1 day head start on people. I have an extra day. I'm
So
just in a different
so
dimension.
time you get separated in time. Time freezes. You have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
day
yeah.
of preparation, and then you have your next day.
Yeah, so I have an extra day over everyone else, and so that's how they're get how that's the only way I could win. That's the only way I could win. So
I always wished I had the superpower to just like stop time and go to my own separate place because it just never felt like there was enough time to get started.
yes, yes, yes.
I
So
really
honestly,
okay.
I'm be honest. Like I know this might be my type saying this shit, but the most important thing in life is time. That's actually the most important thing. Like because like that's like I never always had this belief, but like the more I have to do shit and stuff, and like the more things that I feel responsible to do and care about, the more I realize I need to have more time in the day to to have the do the best I could basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, time is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one who answered this question like this? I had to like go into a completely
No.
different world, and it's funny.
Well, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Avery had some magical stuff.
Okay, okay,
Avery
nice.
had her bed molded with her computer, so it was just so comfy. And I'm just like, I have the same savior animals. I'm like, I would never have thought of this. It's like,
Wow, interesting.
no. My perfect day is I led an army. I conquered a villain. We don't talk about that. Okay. Next question. For what, Sadeq, do you feel most grateful for in
Good
life?
question. So coming like so I was always like well off, like I was, in Iraq I was in middle class, but then there's a lot of very poor people and who like kids begging,
Mm-hmm.
selling cigarettes, like sleeping in the street, and you just saw a lot of that, and um that has a big impact because you get to see that a lot of people don't have much, and you have a lot, so you have to be grateful for what you have, even if it's smallest things. And this is something that I've always, every now and then, I look back into. Like, for example, I watch like prison documentaries or like stuff like that, and like some of the prisons in the world are fucking like horrible. And some of the
Terrifying.
people have been like, there's a guy who's been there for 40 years and he hasn't had trial, and he's just there. And like, for example, they basically sleep in a very tight room with no windows. It's like 90 degrees inside. It smells like trash, and they had to have to sleep one by one. Like they have to hug each other because there's no space, and they only have one meal a day, and that's like
I would do that.
potato. It's like some sort of potato offshoot like thing, and that's it. And it's just bland. There's no. That's it, and that's their life basically. For like, so the guy was there for 4 days, and like when you see stuff like this, you actually like want to kiss your toilets and the floor and your bed and everything. And Yeah, I swear. And but
Damn, that's
okay.
a
So
high
on
level of
the other hand,
gratitude.
yeah, you have to have
That's
gratitude. But on the other hand, you have a lot of opportunity to do something, especially if you live in a first world country. Like you have so much. Um, what's the right word? You have a lot of privileges that the people don't have. So you have to, in order to make this fair for everyone and like do the right thing, you have to actually do the most you could for what you have, instead of just like being complacent and taking what you have for granted. So it's kind of like a two thing where like it finishes the circle. We're like, hey, you're grateful for what you have, but you also, some people don't have that much. So the best way I could respect, like like respect them, is actually do something with my life, and so that I could help them
mm,
out. And also because like if they're in your place, then they, because they're working so hard in these terrible countries and stuff. And so if you like in order for you to actually like match their work ethic and respect them, you should do more in here, basically. And that's the thing I think about a lot, basically. Yeah.
yeah, it seems like a little bit more of a just like innate drive to just do work. Apart from like they say if you're friends and specialized, it's hard to get the initial drive unless everyone around you is working, and then they pull you along, and then you can do it to be with your friends because you'll do anything for friends. Whereas you're like, okay, there's an innate, I need to be working on something and grateful. Not that I'm saying that the fours aren't grateful. The fours are great. Um, but like kind of if you're missing either flex or responsibility, yeah,
No,
the
yeah, it's like there's I remember there's this guy in New York who sold potato peelers. Have you seen him?
no. Wait,
He's
is he
like
on
an
the
old
YouTube?
guy who, no, he's dead. He's been
Is
dead
this
for like
like
15
popular?
years. No, it's just like a random guy who in New York City who would work every day to sell potato peelers from morning to
Mhm.
like sunrise, like morning to night, and he literally became a millionaire
Oh,
from
really?
doing that. Yes, and like I think he basically lives in like Manhattan or something. It's like fucking
Hmm.
crazy. It's,
Hmm.
I mean, he died like 15 years ago, but there's still videos of him. He's like just in the streets and he's just selling potato peelers and stuff, and it's just very, you kind of respect that, because
I
like,
hear that there's I've heard from people that there's crazy money flowing around New York. There's always money to be made in a sense. So was it
yeah,
was
he
it
sold he sold each one for like $5, and keeps adding up. So he's a really fucking crazy salesman, like so engaging. He has a British accent, just like, yeah,
No, that's super cool. That's super cool.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Like so okay. Um so I think I'm ready to move on to the next question. Um what is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Nothing. I Because like for me, so like look, it's mostly nothing because I don't think I've done something worthy, right? But at the same time, I look, the hardest thing I've done. Let's just say the hardest thing I've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I remember back in 20 March, first weekend of March 2021. I think it's March 4th and 5th and 6th. Like March 4 was the Friday, March 5th and 6th were the Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday, I basically did no, actually Sunday and Friday night, I did like the David Goggins challenge, which
Mm-hmm.
it's like everyone does it at the same time, but it's basically you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And yes, it's fucking crazy. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like I can't compare it to anything else because
You should
especially
be
the
proud of
second
that.
day, yeah, especially the second day, your brain like fucking like you. I don't know the way to explain it. It's kind of like you when you do it this challenge, you kind of dissociate from real life. You're like in your own
Whoa.
completely like mental world, where like you just forget about like everything that has to do with real life. You're only focusing on here, and like David Goggins does this shit all the time, so he's in touch with that all the time, which is crazy. But for that one like weekend, that was um what was really hard. I'm really proud of it. But it's funny. So it's, how I said 48 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So before the challenge, I would only run 24 miles a week, So I did basically 2 weeks worth in 2 days, and
Oh,
so after the next 2 weeks, I had to use like crutches because like my knees would I couldn't walk really, like it was really. And then I don't know if this is related or not, but then 3 weeks after the challenge, my appendix was inflamed and I had to go get surgery for that. So I don't know if that's related or not. Is that my appendix like bursting? Like yeah, I don't know if it's related,
literally
but
just
that was
following David
interesting time.
Guy's good footsteps just
Yeah,
break your entire body.
yeah,
You should,
it was
you
an interesting
should
time.
that you should brag about that. I
No, no, but, that's the only thing I feel like I could brag about, but I still don't feel like it's that's worthy. I don't know.
mm,
If I run an ultra marathon, I'll brag about that, right? I want to do that actually in the future. So like I'm actually trying to run a marathon this year
okay.
because like why not? Like I've been running for 2 years, 3 years, but I haven't run a marathon. So I'm like, let's fucking run a marathon. Why not? Let's just try it.
Mhm.
And eventually, I want to try an ultra marathon. Just for fun, just
Okay.
once. Just see what happens.
No, that's
Yeah,
cool.
but that's the only thing I could that I feel like I could really brag about. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Okay. 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 No, that's a. I think that's an accomplishment. I think that's something to talk about. So, I think we're ready for the next question. What do you most value in friendship, and what does friendship mean to you?
That's the hardest question. I'm
I
serious.
know.
Um, what for me, friendship is like you don't necessarily. For me, the most important thing in friendship is that you know that the other person will always be there for you, regardless of your situation or what's going on. Or and like, that's what true friendship is. Because even if you're like really everyone's kicking you and you're just like down in the mud and stuff,
Hmm.
that's when your real friends are actually real. It's not that when like Jeff Bezos, he has friends like are his friends real? I mean, like it's like you only know if your friends are real is when you're not doing that good. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like the thing about my friends is that we don't really talk much. Like I'm not hanging out every day. Like we might hang out like once a month, like once every 2 weeks, something like that. But I know that there will be for me, like they'll always be there for me if I need them or if they need me. Like it's kind of like a contractual thing, where like I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna fucking help you out when you need it, and you'll help me out when I need it. Yes, but it's interesting because I don't. It's funny, but I don't ask for help that much from my friends.
Hmm.
I don't like to ask them for help. Usually, it's just like if it's just like a big emergency and stuff. And most of them seem to be like that too. Sometimes they ask me for too much help. It's like I'll give you an example. Like I had a friend who, because they were so that this friend owns a car dealership, and he's studying for college, so he
Hmm.
sometimes doesn't have time to do his college shit. So I would help him out, but then it became so much that I was like, dude, okay, we're gonna charge you. I'm charging you. So
Yeah.
like I started charging him like $150 for each test and shit. So it kind of basically stops doing that. And
What was it for specifically? Something with his car or like checkup on his car? What?
no, his dad owns a car dealership, and so
Ah.
he inherited the car dealership, so he runs a car dealership basically.
Oh, when he was
And
asking you to do work for free?
no. So like sometimes he needs help with college stuff because he's at
Oh,
work. Yeah.
college stuff.
So, but he started doing it too much. I'm like, okay, we're gonna charge you. I'm charging
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I think that's fair. I feel
Yeah,
like
it's fair. It's
when you're demon friends and your savior flex, they mentioned this in that one ISTJ girl, the sleep first ISTJ girl. They were like
the Sims.
the Sims girl, yeah.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
is that like the flex people will like sometimes like hand out money or like do charity because they're like
yes. Okay, yes, yes.
so it's like I had the same thing where I had a coworker who was a manager at Amazon, and he's like, my dad died, and my brothers won't give me money for his ashes. I'm like, here's $200. I have no
Yes,
questions
yes,
asked. No
exactly,
questions
exactly.
asked. And it's just like, and I left Amazon, and he doesn't even reach out to me, and I'm like, I was telling a friend, and they were like, you should be mad about that. I'm like, I don't care.
That's the thing. I feel like the end goal of everything we do is unconditional giving back. It's like that's what actually means that much. This is actually gonna tie into the last question you're gonna ask, I think. But like, it's just the the thing we're unconditionally gonna give back to people without expecting anything in return. And
Yeah.
that's what I really care about, or like that's the thing that I really, it's like kind of like an end goal kind of thing. It's okay, but this weird thing happened yesterday. I still don't get it. So there was a homeless lady in the parking lot in a grocery
Mhm,
store. It was like 12, 11 p.m. I was leaving,
mhm.
and she looked like so miserable. She was like looking
Oh.
down at the ground, and she was like her cards,
Mhm.
and I gave her money.
Yeah.
I asked her to give, but then she just stared at my face and just walked away. She didn't even take the money, and I still don't
Mm,
understand what was that like.
mm.
Some people don't want help. What's going on? You know. But that happened last night. I still don't understand what happened basically.
That
But
happened last night. Wow.
yes, last night it happened last night. Yeah, I don't know
Mhm.
what that means, but it's weird.
That
This
is
is the
weird.
first time this has happened. You know. But
Like how disheveled was she?
no, she was like literally pushing her carts, and she was
Uh,
like in the parking lot, and she wasn't even looking at the street. She's looking at the floor, and like her back is half punched. I felt
so
really bad, but I don't know. That was weird.
do you think she might have had like schizophrenia or something?
I don't know.
Was she
Maybe.
acting weird at all? Like,
No. She just wasn't. She's just like hopeless.
mm, that's sad.
Don't know.
That's really sad.
Yeah, I get. You see, we have to be grateful again. We have to be grateful for what we have, even if it doesn't never fucking feels like enough. You know, I always like gets like this is not enough. This is not enough. But then look at someone else. You know.
Well, what I wanted to circle back on with what I was saying, which was I gave a friend money when his dad
Yes.
died.
Yes.
But
Yes.
and people were like, "Well, why he didn't reach out to you after you went through something terrible? You got fired." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't reach out to him. I didn't even think about it. It didn't even cross my mind. I was just like, moving on now. Don't want to think about that
Yeah.
again."
I think the best way is like we like helping people, but it's in an impersonal way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, I'll give you money. I'll buy you food, but like we're not gonna connect. Like we're not gonna really be friends. I'm just like helping you. I don't know. That's how it feels like. Because like
Mm,
that's the only. It's like if you look at Keanu Reeves, he actually sits down with the homeless person and eats with him.
yeah.
I
Makes
just
so
go
much
there, I give you
longer.
food, and like boy, and I think maybe that's like the missing thing. We're not actually
I
connecting.
mean, like what's going on in my mind is I'm like, I just want people to understand how much I care. And I'm like, wait, am I caring enough to actually just sit there with them? But maybe that's not my skill set. Maybe my mission is to do something else to help in a different way. But I have to go
Yes.
through it through this flex, ego, name to it, big, explosive thing rather than.
Yep.
But my energy just doesn't go there. My energy doesn't get directed there. I can do that if I feel like I might even try that, just like to do the same stuff I'm doing with these interviews, where I'm just
Mhm.
like, how do you talk to people? How do you care for
Yes.
people? How do you practice giving? How do you, okay, can you go volunteer at the homeless shelter just to practice doing it? And the way I do it though is we're in a conveyor belt and I start jacking the other guys like doing his stuff because he's going too slow. And I'm like, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm like, stop it. But just
Yeah. It's funny, but yeah, I thought about this like past couple of weeks. Like
mhm.
it seems like like the end of like an end goal thing, or like maybe when I'm retired or something, I would just like to volunteer at like so there's an animal sanctuary that's like I've gave a lot of I donate to them, but like when I find like owls or like
Mhm.
injured birds and shit, I go there and like they take care of it. It's like my end goal is for me to actually volunteer there, like at the end of my life or something, when I don't actually have to worry about anything that. Yeah,
Mm.
it's like I think like we're just gonna circle back to actually doing the
Yeah.
thing, but we're not doing it really in the moment, or yeah.
I mean, let me tell you, to connect on that like homeless lady stuff and the she's just gone. I'm just like, I had a Winchester mystery house of all my goals and I'm gonna change that. And I was like, okay, what am I really mad about? Okay, I'm mad about trauma, sadness, depression, and mental illness, that stuff. And I'm like, okay, how do I find a way to restructure all of society to fix these things? It's like that's the responsibility drive, and people are like, that's not possible. I'm like, well, there was a time when this wasn't like this, so that it can be like that again. So don't tell me I can't do anything. Like,
Yeah, so here's the thing. The thing I'll say, that's the thing. I was actually, I couldn't sleep last night because I was thinking about this. I was like, it's
mm,
2 a.m. and 3 a.m. Yeah. Basically, the thing I was thinking about is if you look at human history, let's say all human history is a chess game, right? Let's say it's a chess game,
okay,
and
that's an analogy.
uh,
An analogy.
most most of us are just pawns, honestly. Like we're just pawns. And very few people are actually like, okay,
Right.
you could be a knight or a bishop, but the
Mhm,
queen and king, it's like very few people, and then even then it's very minuscule. Like, so like I was looking at the most well-known 100 people in the world, right?
mhm.
Like, you know, like when you go to like a third world country, people like Mike Tyson or Muhammad, like everyone knows them for some reason. It's like in a collective,
Yeah.
everyone knows like who Kim Jong-un is or all that kind of
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm.
But is that really going to be you? And that's the thing for me. It's like, no, I don't think that's going to be me. So I just get depressed about it because for me it's like
See,
when I go to Wikipedia and I like read it's like I've been doing this since I was a kid. Like I would just go to the encyclopedias and just read for fun. And when
mhm.
you see all the people who have ever existed, you're like, oh, influenced all subsequent Western philosophy or something. And you're like, fuck, I don't think that's going to be me. And I get depressed about it. And if it seems like with the number one, you're like, no, fuck it, that's gonna be me. And you
That's
just
gonna
like,
be me. You
but
go
for
and
me, it's
grab
like
for it.
I get
Yeah.
stuck and depressed, but like that's where the stuck energy comes from.
I get depressed too because then I realize how inconceivable it is. I'm like, okay, I have to break this down, and then just the ambition kind of hits you in the head again.
Yes.
It hits you in the
Yep.
head again. Um, Very strong, and you're like, okay, like literally screaming in my car, just going, I can make this difference. I have something to give to the world, and I was like, it's like, okay, maybe
And
that's
then
admirable, but it's
to be honest,
fucking nuts.
screaming is the car in the car is really helpful. I do that a lot. It's no, so it's so because if you scream and are like next to people, they're gonna call the police. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But if you're in a car and yeah, like I'm in the highway, the screaming I do is like fucking insane. Like
Yeah.
the
Oh
it's
yeah.
like like I don't know how to explain it, but like my throat gets
Yeah.
like
Torn. You tear your
torn,
throat.
but you feel better.
You do.
So
You do.
yeah,
You do.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
scream therapy, just works.
Wait, how did we get? Okay, you said okay. I would look back at the question. I was like, "What do you most value in friendship, and what does friendship mean to you?" And so you answered like,
We don't want to talk about friendships, so we just went for
"Sheesh." No, I'm forcing it. We have to talk about. It. We got to get the demon state. We got to get the
yeah.
demon state. So, Sadeq, what does friendship mean to you?
I don't know.
I know, right?
I don't know what it means to me. It's just it's like I told you, all my friends is just like it's always been kind of like accidental, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like hey, like that. I, I don't I don't know. It seems like the way I do with friendship is it's not connecting for connecting sake. Seems like
We are
there's
DI.
this. So it seems like there's this thing you're trying to process, or this issue you have, or both of you guys are working on the same thing. It's like the closest friend I have, he was my friend, but we weren't close. We got close because we took summer classes in high school together, and we like studied together, and that's how we got so super close. And for me, it seems like we have to go through a struggle together, or
Mhm.
do some like have some hardship, or like do something together for us to be true friends.
Yeah, yeah, that is one of the things I think, even though it is available in the world, is that we need more of structures which force us to work on something together. Because
Yeah.
the fact that structures are breaking down, traditional structures are breaking down, it's like, okay, do we need to actually just formulate structures just to allow people? Because people are lonelier than ever. I mean, I'm just
Yes.
projecting as a person who doesn't connect with people, you know. But like, it's true. It's true.
Statistically, it's true. Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like maybe there need to be, if the internet is a thing, like the internet is part of it, where we have our own algorithms, and then like you see these kids who like are like, I can only talk about this thing in this phone with, and no one understands what I'm talking about. And we kind of feel like that way with OP sometimes, but at least we have a community with each other. But it's like if you could network with people if there was an easier way or something built in, like required to be built in, that you could connect with people who have the same interests of you online instead of being isolated and isolating yourself just by consuming.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Ideas. Like geographically, like here's the people in your space, but still, then we'd also have to have limits on that for people's own safety. But like
Yeah,
that people
yeah.
would get better socialized, it also causes less problems. So
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's the thing I'm like gonna work on is so like my friends have their friends, but I'm always like I don't fucking want to meet your friends or I don't care, and I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna have to meet new people in real life, and that was the biggest fucking issue every time is I have my friends and I'm like okay, no more friends. That's it. We're done. And so I miss out on so much opportunities or shit because I don't want to be friends with people, like new people. And that's always the mentality I've had. I still have that, and I'm trying to get rid of it, basically.
oh, you
But
know
it's gonna
what?
be so fucking hard. Yeah.
I have a theory of friendship. So you do you know about like hormones that like makes people smell good to you?
Pheromones. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
pheromones, right? So
Yeah.
there's supposed to be two immune systems that are opposite. That if you have the opposite ones, you smell good to each other. And so I was like, oh, what if there's this sexual binary, which is, but this is why you have a friend and then they have a friend and you hate their friend but you love their friend because you're around them and you smell them and you're like, I just feel happy when I'm talking to this person, and then you go to the other person, you're like, I feel nothing. And there's this underlying hormonal binary that is making you be a third wheel to your friends. Isn't that a funny idea? Funny thought? I think it's real.
My friend uses pheromone perfume, like that bullshit. Like the thing is, like he puts it, like he just. I don't know if it really works or not. I don't know,
Yeah.
but maybe it's something to try. You know.
But it's a theory of like, well, why do I love my best friend and I hate his best friend? Not just because I'm jealous, but
Yeah.
it's like I just can't
Yeah.
connect. Like, oh, we're alone and I just can't connect. It's like it's literally that SF subliminal, and you don't even know it. So it could be that. Like I feel like I've noticed that where I've like had a friend, I'm like, I love this guy. And this is like their friend, and I'm like, I hate you. Like, okay.
Yeah, I've done crazy shit with my friends, m- like a lot of trolling, antagonizing, like
Mhm.
just, yes,
Or you're just
and
jealous.
yeah, maybe, well, but maybe that's what's going on, you know. But no, it seems like when I hate somebody, other people also hate the person. It's not just me.
Mm,
But well, I just like do a lot of I don't know. I just fuck with people a lot sometimes because I don't
and
care
that's
about.
savior. I don't know about fucking with people. I've never messed with anyone ever.
Yeah,
Um,
I believe you.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think we're ready for the next question. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
Nothing.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate
Nothing.
on that?
It depends on the audience. If like if you want to offend the audience, you could offend them. If you don't want to offend the audience, then you could see what they things are off limits, and then you could uh, not joke about these things. But like generally, it's nothing. Like I think that's the right answer. It's just nothing, but it just depends on who you are with. I mean,
Mm. So, do you think there is a value to pushing the boundaries and making jokes that some people would be offended by?
to be honest, so I don't really like comedy or stand-up comedy. I like I literally there's only one comedian I've ever listened to, and that was like it just happened to I had to listen to this guy because my dad would listen to him when I was a kid, and I
Mhm.
just like would just listen to this one guy. That's it. I'm not listening to anybody else, and that's about it. I don't really listen to stand-up comedy, or I don't like. Oh, I'm gonna go on the stage and I'm gonna be the clown, and you guys are supposed to laugh. I don't like that. I like conversational or like in the moment kind of joke or stupid jokes, like
Yeah, yeah,
immature
yeah,
jokes.
yeah. Me
Yeah,
too.
I don't like the we're here to laugh, like no, it's not.
So, I mean, I can. The thing is I literally remember like my freshman year of high school, getting up and making a really dumb poop joke, and like it not going over. I'm just being like, I'm not a funny person, even though I'm in an NE, right? It's just naturally. But I was just like, I don't want to go down this route of trying to be funny. I don't want to be. I will take the role of clown, but like that is not what I want to identify as. But as an
Yeah, yeah.
ENFP, like you are, you know, you just say crazy shit and people laugh, you know. Um, but interesting that the flex seems to like be like, no, we're serious people here.
But yeah, but you know, when it comes to jokes, um, I sometimes go over the line with the jokes, like when people, because for the way I think about it is, you could attack me too, you could call me a terrorist or whatever, and I'm fine. I'll laugh about it because I know it's a joke, and then I'll also say something stupid and we'll laugh about it together. But like some people don't really, they get offended or like they. For me, it's like if I attack you, you could attack me back, and we're fine. We're not gonna be personal. It's just, but it's just different. Everyone has a different taste, you know. Everyone has a different style of like or thought process, you know. So sometimes that's gonna cause conflict, you know.
So, like Avery said, like don't joke about anything in someone's DI or anything anyone's dealing with. But do you think there's a value in doing that and going after someone's?
I'll be honest. I do that, you know.
Yeah.
I do that, and
Mm-hmm.
I've had fights with people about this like a lot, a lot. It happens a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and um, to be honest, I feel like to say there's value in it is kind of like to make a point about me only, not really.
Mm,
It's like hey, I do this shit, I'm finding to your reasons bullshit to make it make sense, and I don't know if there's actually there.
no,
I don't know if
I'm trying to go down this path because I'm wondering what you think, but I'm like if I'm bringing it up, it's because I'm curious because I'm like I'm starting to think about this more.
I don't think I'm actually doing it for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for my own thing,
I'm not
and
asking about that just for you. I'm talking about like in general, and does it have
is
a
there
value
value?
for the other person that you make a joke at
I
their
guess the
expense?
only thing is it makes them have a stronger skin.
Yeah.
I would say that's the only really thing. It's like if it makes you have a stronger skin, and so when you actually, here's the other thing. So that's an issue. So yeah, you could have a stronger skin if someone was jokingly calling you a terrorist or something, and that's fine. But then
Mm-hmm.
if someone actually like in real life
Okay.
says something, it's like you're the N word, and in a bad way, or like you're this in a bad
Yeah.
way. It kind of blurs the boundaries, and it's a very fucking tricky subject. You know, it's a very very tricky.
Well, I feel like the fours and the comedians, like you're kind of thinking about like in my life, and I'm thinking I can think of like a comedian, and they've I've heard you know in podcasts where it's talking about like this guy talked about this side and everyone was laughing, and then he twisted it and made it about the other side, and then they both sides were laughing at each other, and it's like there's this animosity, this we can't joke about this, we can't joke about this, we can't joke about this, but if I when the moment of you laughed at them and they laughed at you and then you laughed together and all of a sudden you realized you were laughing together, it's like you're bringing the darkness into the light.
Yes, yes. So that's the thing. I like that part, and I agree with this part. That's why I like that's the reason for why I do maybe, but I haven't really thought about it. But the issue is, does this make it more? Does this make it better or worse? Because like, would people joke about this more, or be, or and like do it in a bad way, or would they actually laugh about it? You know, it just
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I'll give you an example. Like they're making new like AI bots that you could like chat GPT with other versions, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, this is the free speech version, and then some people are like
Just
saying
go
the N
around to
word, and then
antagonize people.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they're saying the N word in the chat, and the chat's like, oh, this is you can't say that, and they're like, they get pissed off, like, oh, but you said it's free speech. So it's like, do you understand? It's like, I get the joke in the bad part, but I'm not sure if how that impacts like society as a whole. If like people would maybe can become more racist, or maybe they're just joking
Yeah.
about it. I'm not sure. It's like you have to do a trial or see what happens, because I don't.
In a sense it takes someone who can deal with it. It's not just
Yes,
that's what I'm trying to say is like it's not just all free. Like you have to read the NF, I guess is what I'm saying.
yes, yes, yes.
But there is a value. I'm trying to get to like there's a value there, but like in a sense, even though I'm pushed on Avery, I'm like, in a sense, I very much agree with Avery. At least when someone truly cannot handle it. But like, should we help them be able to handle it? What person do you want to be at the end of the day? Do you want to be an anxious person who's always afraid of being offended? Anyone's going to trample on me, and I'm just going to fold and cry. And I'm like, I don't want to look at that. Like, I don't want that for you. I want you to
Yeah,
be like, I want you to be strong.
that does make sense.
There is stuff that just increases animosity. I'm agreeing with you there. So, but like, what I'm saying is like, humans and children, we need to be anti-fragile. We need to be going into situations that make us stronger. Humans are anti-fragile systems that when they are put under stress, they become stronger. So I'm like, if you just throw out any criticism of yourself, you're making yourself fragile. And I don't want you to be fragile. I don't want you to be broken. I don't want you to break when a wind comes through and knocks you over.
That does make sense, but again, when I joke,
but there is also the racism.
Like sometimes I joke with people about things, and they get really offended by it. But then I'm not necessarily thinking about I'm making like I'm not looking at the D. Let's just say that I'm not looking at the D.
Hey! It's all instinctual, partially. Like for instance, like being tickled. Like if you do a heat map of where you're ticklish, it's exactly where like a predator would like claw you and get to your soft organs. So we start tickling someone, and then they giggle, and they're like, I don't want to be tickled, but my instincts are telling me to giggle. And so you do it. So you are just following your instincts, but it's there for a reason. Now use your conscious mind and your own judgment to figure out where's the line. And the situation you're in, and where can we push the boundaries? Where can we make things easier? And also, like, can we unite? Can we unite both sides? Can we stop just yelling, fuck yeah? Like, I've been on both sides, and I feel like I at one point I just get sick and just go, okay, this is kind of gross. This is kind of gross. All we talk about is the enemy, and then and it's. I've talked to the other side. They're not that bad, you know. But I'm just I'm just seeing both sides.
No, I agree. I agree, because that's what always happens whenever there's disagreement. The same shit happens with me. It's like when you actually talk to people, they're like, "Oh, it's just a cool guy. That's just normal people."
Have you ever heard of that Daryl Davis guy? Is his name Daryl Davis? Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. I know him. The black guy who becomes friend with KKK members, and then he actually make them leave the KKK.
Yeah,
I've seen so much of his shit. So yeah, I do know him. Yeah, he's an interesting character. Yeah,
he's an interesting character, and he's just like, now I think of it, I wonder if he's a 4. If he's just like, but maybe not. He could be anything. But like, is he just going up and going like, I'll be friends with you? And the guy was just on his own side in his own black hole with his own tribe, and then he's like, yeah, they're not people. The enemy's over there. And then the guy goes like, hey, let's connect. He's like, holy shit, this guy connected with me better than my entire tribe. It's like, that will fucking blow your mind.
That guy is like a fucking super double decider. Like he's just
probably.
Like, it's crazy.
They should do a class on Daryl Davis. Someone should tell them. They should.
Yeah, I don't think it's controversial, honestly. So yeah, we should tell them.
Yeah, we should
because like some people say he's like what he's doing is wrong or something. Like, dude, come on, like he's literally saving people's lives. So, like what, like he's
saving their
pulling
souls.
People out of their holes. Yes, he's pulling people out of their holes. So like, why are maybe like he's going to the KKK rallies and shit, but he's actually fucking doing more to like make them actually like leave than you are, so you're actually just making people in a way you might actually make more KKK members than actually make a few, and he's like trying to make a few from what he's doing. So it's and like he actually says that there are some people who will never change. Like there are a percentage of the people like they'll never change, but then most of them are malleable, and you could like find a way to break through and change them, and it's very interesting. Yeah, I respect the guy.
That's interesting to me. A lot of respect for that guy. Okay, I think we're ready for the next question. Sadeq, how do you cope with the fact that you will one day die?
Um, I already accepted.
You accept
I've
it?
it's I already accepted it like a couple of years ago. Like I'm already
Mhm.
not I'm not really scared of it. It's
Mhm.
like it's funny because I have like some super religious friends and they're like they have like, oh, I'm gonna go to hell or heaven. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like if it's like if hello heaven is real or whatever. I already accept my face, but they for some reason they can't really like they're so obsessed by this like oh like they get like swings or like oh like I'm a bad person or things like that.
Mhm.
For me, I don't really care. I'm like I'll do what I do and I'll try to help people out. And if there's an afterlife, great, you know. Like honestly, in a fucking good way, when you die, it's kind of exciting because you get to know if there's actually an afterlife or not. You know, it's like a interesting thing. Let's just see what happens. But the only thing that I care about is like I want to die a good death. Like I actually want to,
Mm.
let's say, take a bullet for someone, or just
Mm.
like make it worthwhile. Like I don't want to just die randomly in like some bullshit thing, right? Like I just want to do something for someone else when I die or something.
Mm.
And that's really all. It's not really about oh, am I scared of death? It's more I'm scared of not having a good death. That makes sense.
Sounds like a very pride based, like, I will laugh in the face of death type of thing. Maybe I'm extrapolating a bit too much. I'm drawing a correlation to something else.
I'll be honest. Like I just it's for some reason the whole heaven hell thing never connected with me. Like
They,
the
it seems the gammas, the NF sleeps are better at that. You know?
like ever since I was a kid, they
Yeah.
would tell you, oh, heaven, hell. Like okay, for me, it's like when I look at this stuff, it's more like it, it seems like my NF is more into like the world around us or that kind of stuff than
Yeah.
actually heaven hell. I'm into very NF bullshit, but like heaven hell, I'm not scared of that. Like it's not something that my NF is attached to. Like oh, I've been like this since I was a kid, and I was actually shocked that people actually weren't like that. Like I'll give you a funny example. So you know how people like pray that they go to heaven or hell?
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that actually.
Mm.
Just funny. And
Mm.
I only realized like 2 years ago that I've never done that. It's like even though I pray or do all this stuff you're supposed to do as your religion or whatever, I never actually cared enough about oh, am I going to heaven or hell? It's not even something that comes across my mind.
What
Whereas with my friends, they're actually fucking like crazy about it, and that
what
was a big disconnect.
what were you raised as?
Muslim,
Yeah.
yeah.
So did your family raise you to that? Did they try to?
No, it's just a normal thing. It's like so in
Or
Iraq,
were they kind of passive about
in
religion?
Iraq, you get taught. Uh, it's kind of like going to a Christian school, but like in Iraq, the whole country, the public school system teaches you about Islam in school.
Mm.
And if you're Christian in the class, you just get a 300 and you could like leave the class, right? You don't have to go in the class. Yeah, it's cool. Like maybe I would have skipped the class. That's good, but uh, basically they just do that, and then your parents at home just tell you like some things, and that's pretty much it. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my parents weren't really like too extreme. They're just like, yeah, this is what we do. That's it. And like, he expects you to do it. And so like that's how God trains us. And but I never was scared of heaven and hell. That's the funny thing. Even
Mm-hmm.
from the get go, you know, I just never really was. Like the people I know, some people I know, it's like I'm just not like that. I don't know why
Um,
or what's going on, but
I have a question for you.
you know
What?
what? Maybe it's because I'm saver enough. So it's like it's not like a demon state for me. We're like, unknown.
What is the
Oh, I'm
meaning
scared.
of this?
Yeah. It seems like I think my friend is like SCTE or something like that. So I think that's what the fuck's
Mm.
going on. He's just like,
I've noticed some stuff with. There's been some noticing of like weird, like sometimes the STs will be like into weird NF stuff, like
yep,
systems. You've noticed that, and the
yes,
NFs are just like, stop taking this so
yeah.
serious.
I already talked about this, but I can't imagine that someone is doing the shit I'm doing with the sensor and like, oh, I'm taller than this guy, so I'll beat him, or like, oh, I'm gonna beat your arm wrestling,
Mhm.
and they're doing that with the fucking intuition. I'm like, dude, come on, seriously, it's actually scary to actually see that. It's like people like think it's they're doing this thing with an intuition. It's scary for me, because they're doing the opposite thing.
I have another question. Correlated to this. What if you had to choose like a type of afterlife? What would you kind of want to find out? What would you want to be?
It's a funny thing. Heaven doesn't sound enticing.
I know, right?
And I actually argued with my friend. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go heaven. It actually sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like but hell is worse, but like heaven is
Yeah.
terrible. Like I don't, it doesn't. And like the thing is like, oh, you actually have a different consciousness or whatever. Like, dude, come on. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound. I honestly, for me, heaven would be. That's a fucking hard question. I would say I want it to be a world where you could actually. It's just like a fantasy world. It's kind of like there's still struggle, there's still depression, but you just have more inner freedom. You could do more shit, right?
You're speaking my language, man. That's what I'm saying. That's what the afterlife needs to be. We go to a fancy world.
Yes, just win a fantasy world. Yes, and you just you could live there forever, and if you could like drink something, and it's done. But you could just stay there for as long as you want, and you could do whatever you want, and you could get harmed, and there's still the limitations of this life.
What if you could forget that you were in an afterlife?
Yes.
Be like, this is real.
Yep.
What if we're already there?
That sounds more fun than just pleasure, no depression. Like no, I want hardship. Like I can't have meaning without hardship.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want hardship. Like, I don't know. Actually, never mind. I want the drug dopamine heaven. I'd like that. I'd like just pure drugs, dopamine pressed into my brain. I bliss. Erase whatever it is that I am, that all the things written on my soul that mattered. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Who cares about that?
Yeah, but it's like that could be an option in the fantasy world, and if you don't want the option, you could, it's like I want to be a place where
what if
there's crazy options, but it's up to you to decide if you want the crazy option or not.
Wait.
You could.
What if we're in the fantasy world, and there's the people who want the bliss, and it starts expanding and devouring other things, and then we have to go fight it.
We'll meet there, and then we'll make a plan.
Yeah, we'll make a plan. Yeah. We'll make a plan of the afterlife. Promise you that. Okay, so I think Sadeq, it's been a good interview.
Yes,
I really enjoyed what we were talking about. Yeah.
Oh
yeah, this was fun. For everyone, thanks for watching. I'm gonna end the live stream, and I'd like to talk to you, Sadeq, for a little bit.
Bye, guys.
Bye.